Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Bible Summary Series. Today we're starting in Exodus chapter 18. When Jethro, the priest of Midian and Moses' father-in-law, heard about what God had done for Moses and the Israelites, he visited him. When Jethro came, he brought Zipporah, whom Moses had sent back home earlier, along with her 2 sons. The first son was named Gershom, for Moses had said, I have been a foreigner in a foreign land. And the second son was named Eleazar, because Moses said, The God of my father was my helper, and he has saved me from Pharaoh's sword. So Jethro, along with Moses' wife Zipporah, and the 2 boys, arrived while Moses and the people were camped at Mount Sinai. Jethro sent word to his son-in-law that he was coming, so Moses went out to meet him. They greeted each other warmly, inquired after each other's health, and then went into the tent to talk. Then Moses told Jethro about everything the Lord had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians, and how the Lord had delivered them from all their hardships. Praise be to the Lord, Jethro said, rejoicing, who has rescued you from the Egyptians and from Pharaoh, and has saved his people. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods, because he delivered his people from the harsh hand of the proud and cruel Egyptians. Then Jethro offered a burnt offering and sacrifices to God, and Aaron and all the elders of Israel came to eat a meal with Moses' father-in-law and in the presence of God. The next day Moses took his seat to serve as a judge for the people, and they waited before him from morning till evening. When his father-in-law saw what Moses was doing, he asked, What is this you are doing for the people? Why do you alone sit as judge, while all these people stand around you from morning till evening? Because they come to me to seek God's will, Moses replied. Whenever they have an argument, it comes to me, and I decide who is right and who is wrong, and I tell them of God's decrees and laws. This is not good, Jethro exclaimed. You're going to wear yourself out, and if you do, what will happen to the people? No, this job is too heavy a burden for you to handle by yourself. Now, listen to me, and I will give you some advice, and God will bless you. You should continue to be the people's representative before God, and bring their disputes to him. Go ahead and teach them God's decrees and laws, and show them how to live godly lives. But you should select capable men from all the people, men who fear God and refuse bribes, and appoint them as judges over groups of 1,000, 100, 50, and 10. Let these men be available to take care of the people's common disputes at all times. But have them bring anything that is too important or complicated to you, and the simple cases they can take care of themselves. This will make your load lighter, because they will share it with you. If you follow this advice, and if the Lord agrees, you will be able to endure the pressure, and there will be peace and harmony in the camp. So Moses listened to his father-in-law's advice and did everything he suggested. He chose capable men from all Israel and made them judges over the people. They constantly served as judges for the Israelites at all times, and they brought the hard cases to Moses, but took care of the simple ones themselves. Soon afterwards, Moses said goodbye to his father-in-law, and Jethro returned to his own land. In Exodus chapter 19, 3 months after leaving Egypt, the Israelites arrived in the wilderness of Sinai and set up camp at the base of Mount Sinai. Then Moses climbed up the mountain to meet God, who called out to him. Tell the Israelites this, God said. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I carried you to safety as if on eagle's wings. Now if you will obey me and keep my covenant, you will be my own special treasure from among all the nations on earth. For all the earth belongs to me, and you will be my kingdom of priests, my holy nation. You are to share these words with the Israelites. So Moses went back down and gathered the elders and told them everything God had said. "We will do everything the Lord has commanded," the people said together, and Moses then told God what they'd said. Then God told Moses, "I will come to you in a thick cloud, so the people can hear me speaking with you and believe you forever. Now go down and prepare the people for my arrival. Sanctify them today and tomorrow, and have them wash their clothes. Have them be ready for the third day, because on that day I, the Lord, will descend on Mount Sinai in sight of all the people. You must mark off a boundary all around the mountain, and warn them, take heed that you do not go up on the mountain, or even touch its boundaries. For anyone who touches the mountain will surely be put to death. Whether it be man or beast, it shall not live. And when they hear the trumpet blast, they are to come up to the base of the mount." So Moses went down to the people and sanctified them, and they washed their clothes. "Be ready in 3 days," he told them, "and do not have physical intercourse with your wives during this time." 2 days passed, and on the morning of the third day, thunder roared, and lightning flashed in the heavens. A thick cloud descended on the mountain. There was a long, loud blast from a ram's horn, and all the people trembled in fear. As they shook, Moses led them out of the camp to meet God, and the people stood at the foot of the mountain. Mount Sinai was covered in smoke because the Lord had descended on it in fire. The smoke billowed up like smoke from a raging furnace, and the whole mountain shook violently. As the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God thundered his reply. So the Lord came down on the top of Mount Sinai and called Moses to the top. So Moses went up. But right away God told him, "Go back down and warn the people not to force their way through the boundaries to see the Lord, or they will die. Even the priest who approach the Lord must purify themselves, or the Lord will break out against them." "But Lord," Moses said, "the people won't come up Mount Sinai. You yourself warned us, set boundaries around the mountain to set it apart as holy." But the Lord said, "Go down and bring Aaron back with you, but do not let the priest and the people force their way through to come up to the Lord, or I will punish them." So Moses went down to the people and told them what God had said. In Exodus chapter 20, God spoke these words, "I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, the land of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the fathers to the 3rd and 4th generation of those who hate me, but showing my mercy and love unto thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your animals, nor any foreigners living in your towns. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in them, but he rested on the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Honor your father and your mother, so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house, or your neighbor's wife, or his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. These are the 10 commandments that God gave his people on Mount Sinai. And when the people saw the thunder and lightning, and heard the trumpet, and saw the mountain covered in smoke, they stood at a distance, trembling with fear. "You tell us what God says," the people said to Moses, "and we will obey. But don't let God speak directly to us, or we will die." "Do not be afraid," Moses said to them. "God is come to test you, and to make it to where your fear of him will keep you from sinning." So the people remained at a distance, while Moses approached the thick, dark cloud where God was. Then the Lord told Moses to say to the Israelites, "You have seen that I have spoken to you from heaven. Remember, you must not make or worship any idols made of silver or gold or of anything else. You are to make an altar of earth for me, and sacrifice your burnt offerings and peace offerings upon it, your sheep and goats and your cattle. Build altars only where I tell you to, and I will come to you and bless you. If you use stones to build my altar, use only uncut stones and boulders. Do not chip or shape the stones with a tool, for that would make them defiled and unfit for my altar. And do not use steps to go up to my altar, lest people see your nakedness."
Jethro came from Midian's land, with Zipporah and sons in hand. He praised the Lord for mighty deeds, for how he met his people's needs. Praise the Lord who reigns on high, for his glory fills the sky. From Egypt's chains he set us free, now we walk in his decree.
Jethro watched as Moses tried to judge the people side by side. "Son, this burden is too great, let others share this heavy weight." Praise the Lord who reigns on high,
for his wisdom never dies. Through his laws we learn to see how to live in harmony.
select the men who fear the Lord, to carry justice with his sword. And let them judge the lesser strife, while you guide them toward God's life. Praise the Lord who reigns on high, for his wisdom never dies. Through his laws we learn to see how to live in harmony. Moses climbed Mount Sinai's height, to meet the Lord clothed in light. Thunder, smoke, and trumpet sound, God's presence shook the holy ground. Praise the Lord who reigns on high, for his power none can deny. On eagle's wings he carried us, in his covenant we trust. God's voice like thunder filled the air. Prepare the people, make them aware. Set apart this mountain's face, for here they'll see my holy grace. Praise the Lord who reigns on high, for his holiness draws nigh. From Sinai's peak he calls us near, to live in reverence and godly fear. Jethro's wisdom, Sinai's call, in God's presence we stand tall. With hearts prepared we answer still, to serve our God and do his will.